Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, beautiful souls. Hello, subscribers, regulars, first timers, occasional drop ins. I am Alicia Barney Matahari. I am a heart whisperer. I am privileged and honored to read for you today, and I am so grateful and so thankful that you are here and that you're sharing your energy with me, and I adore you all. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to the woo woo, a break from the delulu. Today we are doing a pick a card with two piles, and today we are asking our inner beings, our spirit guides, how are you defying gravity? That's the question for today. So we've got pile number one with this beautiful, this is a soul card, and pile number two with this other soul card. So take a moment and decide which pile is for you, and I am going to get started with pile number one. Hello, pile number one. You chose this gorgeous soul card, and we are asking the question today, how are you defying gravity? What is it that you have broken free from, I guess is one way to put it. So you chose this beautiful, beautiful soul card. And the way I'm going to do it is we'll look at your oracle cards first. And then we may or may not pull some tarot. We'll see how we go. So with this soul card, immediately, I'm getting message in a bottle. And I'm hearing that message in a bottle song from the Police. And I'm also hearing Genie in a Bottle, which was by Christina Aguilera back in the day. And I remember hearing one time when she was in high school and she was at her prom and they played her song at her prom, like all the kids sat down. I don't know if that's true, but if it is, like that sounds pretty cruel, very high school. So I don't know if that's a message for somebody treated cruelly by their peers or by their community, let's say. And that would suggest jealousy and envy, rather than like she was she was somebody that they didn't like personally. It seems very much a projection of them rather than a projection of her, if that story is true. Anyway, I'm also hearing that you are the message in a bottle. It's also reminding me of the age of Aquarius, because the age of Aquarius is the water bearer. And if you can see how the container is overflowing, but it's also as within, so without. And then you've got all this beautiful cosmic energy. And oftentimes I see when meditation is being described, being asked to kind of imagine a stream of energy coming down through the crown chakra and down through the chakras. But with you specifically right now, I'm seeing that you're kind of the spiritual, the intuition, the water is flowing through you. But I'm seeing you as being kind of the I want to say the pyramid, the instrument of that flow. And what I'm getting by this is that all this energy around is that you're kind of you're absorbing it like through osmosis, and then you're channeling it very, very beautifully. And then there's almost like this world that's inside. And I'm feeling like if somebody tries to lock you up or cage you, and I'm specifically being drawn to Viktor Frankl and Nelson Mandela. And Nelson Mandela, I remember somebody saying that he was asked, how does the man who is imprisoned for 27 years end up coming out and becoming president of that country? And he said, because the man who went into that jail cell was not the man who came out. And it was what he did with that time. So no matter what is put upon you, you use the energy you have. And I'm hearing from the Science of Getting Rich, there is a thinking stuff. And you are very energetically adept, energetic alchemist, ninja, very, very dexterous with how you do this. You started off when you in this incarnation at a level of consciousness where it was relatively, and when I say relatively, I mean compared to somebody who isn't as advanced as you, on a soul level, on a consciousness level, that you are much easier, you're much more adept, I want to say, at managing those processes, if that makes sense. And for you, I'm hearing these words like release, refract, activate. So I feel like that's both as you evolve in your incarnation. I'm feeling very much that you're having that, like you're releasing, you're refracting, and you're activating not only yourself, but your environment and those in your community, wherever you happen to be. So we'll pop that down there in the middle. And then from the consciousness, oh, wow. We were talking about, soul and the water. That's giving me very strong throat chakra. And that's the gateway between, I guess, it's the first of the ether chakras. The frequency of consciousness supports our ability to focus our attention on all the multidimensional aspects that show up so that we can include them in our reality. Really, really beautiful. And you've got some yellow in here for the solar plexus, and there's some crown chakra action going out here. But you have a way of just being truth, if that makes sense. Like how you walk, how you talk, the action that you take, how you think. It doesn't mean that you don't experience human life, incarnation. You're still in a human body, but you have an ability to connect to consciousness, whether you're aware of it or not, just more than you're probably aware of. And then we have the Watcher here. And I'm seeing the owl here. It's reminding me of Athena. And the Watcher kind of talks about being able to see things from a higher perspective. I'm loving that she has horns, and she's a badass. And she's on the crown chakra of the dragon. The owl is reminding me of, it's known as I think it's the hawk of the night or the eagle of the night. I can't remember which. But being able to see in the dark, but also being able to see in the light. So you have a real understanding and experience, a gnosis. You have learned how to, through your incarnations, and it's really culminating in this incarnation in a way where I feel like, see, she has her eyes closed in here, and I'm saying she because I'm a she, but this being in here has their eyes closed. So I feel like you might have a very earthly life, if that makes sense. So you might be one of I'm getting spiritual warrior, 9 of Wands, like you could be in the throes of corporate 9 to 5, where you have all this delulu going on around you, where people are buying into the really materialism and all of those structures that are coming down as we move from the age of Pisces into the age of Aquarius. So you could be very much a frontline person. It doesn't mean you're going to be that forever, but I feel like you've done a lot of work in that area. Or maybe you're somebody who works with a lot of people in that area. Maybe you do have like a spiritual business or something. Maybe you're a healer or you're a tarot reader or something like that. And you really help the people who are in that environment to kind of a guide incarnate. What I'm getting with your level of consciousness is I'm getting guide incarnate. You are angelic. How are you defying gravity? I'm getting the word transcendence and transcendent and transcendentalism. So you speak directly with your inner being, with divinity. So you've gotten a real ability to master material attachment. I'm getting that if push came to shove, you're willing to lose it all. You're willing to face the pain of losing it all. And I'm not just talking about like money in the bank and material wealth. I'm talking about relationships that matter to you. You know, people where you have a heart investment in them. Also, ways of thinking that you may have been, paradigms that you may have been really strong in your energetic field. Like you're willing to allow those to die and to go on to a higher perspective. And that's really difficult because things that we have that have like that attachment, we're in an earthly body and we don't see all of. We have to go internal to feel and look beyond. And I'm seeing at the beginning of the Little Prince where he says the heart can see what the eyes cannot. And I feel like you really are the eyes of spirit in the Maya, but you have this awareness that your vision is limited and you just accept it. So I'm getting a great amount of acceptance for you, and you're just like kind of, I don't want to say on autopilot, because I really feel that you do your practices, you know, you do your spiritual cleansing, you tend to your body, you tend to like all the koshas, you tend to your body, your mental body, your emotional body, your physical body. You pay attention to what you ingest. You pay attention to who you consort with, or who you exchange energy with. Like I can't imagine that you're going to let any random person do Reiki on you, for example, because you have an understanding that unless they're also somebody who's willing to put the time, energy into maintaining a clear space, that you're not going to invite them into your energetic field in that same way. And it's not to say that they're bad and that you're better. It's just to say that on a level of purity of energy, yours is more pure, higher frequency, if that makes sense. So I'm getting very much for you, message in a bottle. And the message that you're here to embody, to deliver, to live, to learn for yourself more and more is that the woo-woo is the truth. Like we have all this, I've noticed on YouTube actually, that there's a lot of, you know, kind of Stargate and Independence Day, and then there's that new Steven Spielberg film, the what's it called? I think it's called Disclosure. But the information that's coming out is distorted. And you're like the Hierophant. You'll be like, I'll go straight to the source. And it's reminding me of when I was at the ashram and asking Swamiji, you know, he used to give us lectures when we were doing our teacher training, and he was talking about the Vedas, and he was talking about the Bhagavad Gita and like all of the information. And I was like, well, where does all this information come from? And he was like, well, the rishis. And I was like, well, where did the rishis get it from? And he was like, kind of, they downloaded it. And if you know, you know. But at the time, like, I just kind of put a pin in it because I didn't really kind of have an understanding of what that was. And that was a number of years ago. But now I'm like, oh, now I see what he was trying to say. He couldn't have explained that to me because I just didn't have that landing page for it at that time. But he did explain it in a way that I was able to park it and come back to it later. But you'll see, and the point I was trying to make about all this stuff coming out about the disclosure and all that kind of stuff is about the extraterrestrial stuff. And they're talking about it on, you know, some very big podcasts and on mainstream media news, and it's been coming out, the government have released some information and all that. But if you think about it, it's very much in that aspect of like the aliens are coming to get us, and it's like a war of the worlds kind of thing, more than, well, we could collaborate with them. I'm just going to park that there. But if you know, you know, I think you're the kind of person who is at the stage where they would more prefer to do their own research. And doing your own research doesn't mean watching fake news and AI. And if you think about it, Delulu is the programming, and programming, isn't that an interesting word? Because programming, like, it relates to, like, you have programs in schools, you have programs like an education program, you have programming in religion. Over time, it can become dogmatic. Like, a lot of things that start in a good way can kind of become crystallized in a way that loses its original essence, is the way I want to put it. If you think about even art and television, the programming, that's the word that they use for television. Now we've got streaming, but streaming is all down to the algorithm as well. You know, YouTube, what shows up on your social media, that kind of thing. So we have free will. I suppose the clearest and cleanest free will that we have is to kind of switch off YouTube as I record my YouTube video. Plug in ourselves and find out our own information. And by doing that, like, less is more. By spending more time with ourselves and more time with our own I want to say purification process, then we're able to discern, we're able to tell when something's off and when something, it's very easy to get caught up in, well, society says, and this, that, and the third. So it can be very isolating as well. But I feel like, I mentioned horns for her. I feel like this is when you agree to be incarnate, you agree to individuate from the divine and to walk a path. And it's giving me, the horns are giving me Aries. And then she's also got the red hair for fire, and she's got wings of fire here. So I feel like you've almost gone, like you've got it all. It's almost got, from Aries to consciousness to age of Aquarius. It's like you are the whole kit and caboodle. Let's say the whole entire tarot scope of the tarot in one. And over lifetimes, of course, nobody can do this in one lifetime. Absolutely not, in my opinion. But I'm not asking you, obviously, what to believe. I feel like you're very, 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 very pure in your energy. And what I mean by purity is closer to spirit. Like, you're, again, being willing to detach from the material attachment. It doesn't mean that you can't have material success. Of course you can, but it's not what drives you. And then I'm hearing that phrase, power corrupts ultimately and ultimate power corrupts. And I'm seeing King Solomon, but I feel like you're really being able to bring yourself back to purity. And you do it through your practice. You alchemize your outer koshas and bring yourself closer to your bliss kosha. And you do this and act from an area of unselfish love. And I'm hearing that song Revenge by Danger Mouse and Sparkle Horse. Pain is a matter of sensation. So unselfish love is not synonymous with pain-free. You accept that pain is part of being human. But you also accept that you have the ability to tap into gratitude, tap into joy, and all of those things. You face your emotions. You're willing to face your emotions, whatever they are, and own them and process them, and also know that they're fleeting. I'm seeing rocket boosters. And your rocket boosters has been that less is more. Your path to purifying your koshas, your chakras, your energy field, your aura, your thinking. Coming back to essence is what I want to say. Coming back to essence. It's kind of hard to put into words, but it's that commitment to coming back to the essence. That commitment to coming back to spirit. You have that. And that is what gave you the rocket boosters to push through the atmosphere, to break that gravitational pull to fear and materialism and to old paradigms and to what everyone else was projecting upon you. And that is how you are defying gravity. I'm getting a special message for someone also, and this may be for I don't know who this is for, but you know when you're doing like a body scan, or you're doing one of those relaxations where, like in Shavasana or in Yoga Nidra, for example, where you scan the body and you relax each body part, and you let your body like literally melt into the earth, and to be held by the ground beneath you. And sometimes it can feel difficult. What I'm hearing, the message that I'm hearing is you're not feeling anxiety. You're resisting and you're remembering levitating. So take it if that makes sense. If it doesn't, don't worry about it. Leave it aside. So pile number 1, what I want to say to you is congratulations, chapeau, boulabus. This ascension carry-on is not all sunshines and rainbows, and you know that. And I'm reminded again of that Christina Aguilera story that I opened with. I feel like you've had a lot of people come at you and want to tear you down, because your energy is so pure that there's a level of both disbelief, but also there's a level of not having the capacity to understand where you're coming from, because they haven't built the infrastructure yet to be able to receive that information. However, it does make for a lot more pain. It makes for a loneliness, because you're able to meet people where they are a lot more than people are able to meet you where you are. And I feel like you probably feel like you've a lot more friends on the other side than you do in this incarnation. Again, I think this came up in the last reading as well. If you don't have an in-person teacher, it would be something that I feel like would, you're at the stage where you could really, you could really thrive with that. And I feel like you're close to the end of your incarnations, if that's what you choose to do, and return back to your angelic state. Maybe not angelic, but you know what I mean. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. I'm not going to pull any tarot, because I feel like this message is complete. I think this is really beautiful. Pile number 1, I just want to say I'm sending you lots of love and I hope that you know how loved you are. Even if people don't have the capacity to show you as often as they would like to. Because I think your energy intimidates and triggers people quite a bit. So they could be quite reactive in your space. Even very, very highly evolved people. And I mean, again, when I'm talking about evolution, I mean soul evolution. I mean that purification process. We're all just walking each other home. We're incarnate. We're all making our way back to angelic state. You're just further along the process than many people at this time. So I feel like that could lead to a lot of envy, jealousy, and coming at you. And I hope you have people in your corner also. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there, pile number 1. Sending you lots of love. Bye. Hello, pile number 2. You chose this beautiful soul card. I'm getting very strong rooting and contemplation for you, pile number 2. Really sitting there and being in stillness. And I'm hearing that Rumi quote. To understand the dance, one must understand stillness, and to understand stillness, one must understand the dance. I'm sorry, my throat is Giving me a bit of trouble today. Throat chakra. I feel like you're very connected in with your own chakras, but particularly with you're connecting in very strongly to Mother Earth chakras, very strongly. And you're able to do that by taking the time to be in stillness and to just be. You also have the the allowance card, so you're giving yourself that space, that allowance. And I'm seeing a lot of green for the heart chakra, and then we also have the root chakra and the solar plexus. So there's something about dynamic stillness is what I'm hearing, which is kind of interesting. And I guess what I mean by that is like sitting in contemplation is not doing nothing. It's contemplating. It's communing with nature, with divinity, with your inner being, all the things. It's not the same as just checking out and doom scrolling on your phone or something like that, or doom scrolling. It's a different kind of dynamic stillness. The frequency of allowance invites us to be open to whatever comes our way, without judgment, without opinion, without fear, and without resistance. When we allow, the universe becomes our partner in the wondrous dance of existence and expansion. So I feel like you've been having this dance of stillness with the earth, with the cosmos. And that's the energy that I'm getting from this. And you've got the green again repeated here, the green and the root. It's really, really beautiful. And then you've got the wish maker. Oh, gorgeous. And how you're defying gravity is you're breaking through fears of attachment, fear of fear. And that's how you're defying gravity. The pull of fear is really, really strong. And you can see it like in the world today. I'm filming this at the beginning of 2026 and I'm filming it in the United States. There's a lot of crazy stuff happening in the world, and you can see that fear is really at the heart of it, and whipping up people's fears is at the heart of a lot of the stuff that is going on. But how you're defying gravity is you have learned to allow yourself to know that the fear will pass. You're allowing the fear to pass through your body, mind, and your soul does not fear in the way your human body and your human mind does. Your soul knows. Your soul knows so much more. Your soul knows its connection to divinity. And I'm hearing go forth and dream. You are magician. You are fool. You are death. Your inner child is just saying, you're the whole kit and caboodle of the entire tarot. You've been round and round. I'm seeing star energy for you as well. A dream is a wish that the heart makes. So we're back to heart energy. So you just have, I feel like you've had a really heart chakra awakening, maybe several. But your heart chakra is just emanating this beautiful love. And I'm hearing, wee, what will I create next? So I'm seeing you kind of getting your manifestation legs, for want of a better word. And you probably were always able to manifest. I mean, we're always manifesting something. But you may have been someone who were like, oh my God, they're so lucky. And you may have had people being jealous of you and wanting to take what you have manifested and run off with it. But your ability to know that you can manifest again, that you don't need to have like your claws on everything, and that you can let things go because you will manifest next. That does not mean that you need to not have boundaries and give away everything, because if you do that, you just end up becoming depleted. So having learned those lessons, and that's giving me, maybe you grew up in a family or were in relationships where you were taught to be a people pleaser. I'm seeing Britney Spears now. and Whitney Houston, they were, could they have been brighter stars? Probably not. They were just so talented, so loved, and so, I mean, the word I want to say is trafficked. There were economies based on them. Like, they supported so many people through their talent. It's like artistic trafficking, is the way it's coming through. But you are the wish maker, and having learned all these lessons and having really that beautiful, amazing growth, that lesson that you've overcome to not fear. And I'm seeing Paul Atreides in the movie Dune. I must not fear. Fear is the mind killer. You meet it, and then you light it up with the truth, and that's your superpower. That's why you are where you are as the wish maker. And you came that by going within and connecting with your heart and being rooted in who you are. And you manifest from a place of, would I love this? Not, would somebody love for me to manifest this? And it's not so, I want to say, not so intellectual, more, but it is very wise, if that makes sense. It's more than just the human mind. It's you feel it in your body, you feel it in your aura, you feel it you allow your emotions to be the information and the signposts to tell you where you are and how things feel, but also the intuition, and you're using all of your beingness to tell you what you want to manifest, and you're being in your own frequency more and more and more. That's so, so beautiful. And I'm also hearing Martin Luther King, I have a dream. You're in that frequency of, I have a dream. There's aspiration, and there is, but you're also willing to do the work. Like, you're not averse to putting in the hard work, which is really beautiful. And that makes sense because you're in a human incarnation. So it's not just abracadabra, wave a magic wand, here I go. You understand the law of gestation. You what you sow, that you shall reap. You understand that innately in how you live your life. I'm hearing for you especially, and this is segueing from the you're not afraid of hard work. You might have been in a space where you have had to kind of be all work and no play. You might have had to be in a stage where you didn't have time and space to play. And I'm hearing for you, play is pray for you at this time. It's always, spirit loves fun. Playing is a really important aspect of life. You see it in the animal kingdom a lot, in how they teach, socialize, and teach skills to their offspring and play with each other and build that connection. But when you feel inspired, catch that wave. You might have, let's say you're corporate and you have a 9-to-5 job, so you can't necessarily play when you're there. But when it's appropriate and you're in your downtime and you're in your off time, like 5 minutes is a really long time. If you feel inspired to like write some words, sketch something, sing a song, shake your little booty, whatever it is that kind of lights you up, and whatever it is that you love to do. And maybe you don't even know, because you've been in the trenches for so long that you've kind of forgotten. And maybe some of the things that used to really light you up don't kind of have the same va-va-voom for you at this time. And that's okay. You can experiment, and you can think back to when you were a kid, and your inner child is kind of saying, let's say you used to love playing dress up. Like, how can you, what would that look like now? Because your inner child is all grown. I'm hearing it's safe to dream. And that's reminding me of that Christina Aguilera song. When you're safe inside your room, you tend to dream. That's that voice within song. So I feel like that maybe you were not able to play for some time, and maybe when you were younger that you didn't have that space. Like your own inner world was rich, and it was safe for you. But now you have this beautiful energy, you have this beautiful frequency, and now you have learned how to protect that energy. You have learned how to have boundaries. You have learned how to have quality over quantity, like to really come from your own heart space. And because that's how you will be fulfilled, if you create from there rather than from what, when you're younger, you don't really have as much of an opportunity, especially if you have parents who are very directive rather than evocative, rather than if they're telling you what you should do and how you should do it and who you should be, rather than kind of working with you to support you to figure out who you are. You might have a lot of that. So yeah, I'm getting that very strongly for you. So fear of not being, fear of abandonment, fear of not being loved, fear of not being liked, is I feel like maybe you did grow up in that kind of environment where if you weren't delivering on what they want rather than what you may not have even gotten a chance to figure out what it was that you wanted, that's not fulfilling to you. And over time your light can dim, and you've had this beautiful heart awakening, and you can really I'm hearing go forth and dream, play. And again, 5 minutes is a really long time. Think of all the 5 minutes. If you did, if there was 5 minutes here and 5 minutes there and 5 minutes there, like over time, all that adds up to something just amazing. And it doesn't have to be so structured. It can just be experimentation. And then maybe for you guys as well, if you haven't read The Artist's Way, that's really interesting. I'm really getting that you guys have a very strong creativity that wants to come out and wants to play. And again, do it for yourself. If nobody was going to ever see what you spend your creative time on it, what would you create? Create for yourself. That's what I'm getting. Pile number 2. I'm going to leave it there. And I'm sending you so much love and admiration. And I hope you schedule in time to have fun. I hope you catch some waves I hope you catch some waves, and I hope you have fun. And I'm sending you lots of love and light. I adore you, and I'm so grateful that you stopped by my channel. And I just want to say a huge big thank you to all of you. So please consider subscribing if you're not subscribed. And I just want to say thank you for all the well wishes and donations and tips. And bye. Pile number 2.